Alrighty, let's knock some tickers out today because I just happened that I have some time this afternoon. I mean, I'm supposed to do something else, but hey, I mean, popular request, TEDU, right? We hyped it about a little bit on this channel before. On Patreon, it was always on the radar. It was always in a portfolio. And this week, due to like all of the VC stuff, doing like all of the preparation for the deck, all of the master's program, stupid quizzes and stuff, I haven't really updated on you guys. So on September 20th, it actually reached my stop loss. So I set up like a two-way stop loss. When a stop loss was reached, I will liquidate, and on the second day, I will have, you know, when I see like RSI or other index like BFT or MACD that reaches a certain point, I will buy back. So I made a quick profit like in between the 20th and 21st. And then on the 23rd, I was like, I'll hold it, and then it drops down again. And then we know like around like this range, like people were talking about privatization, like what are the news of privatization? And if you go on their website on SEC filing, it's really vague. And I go on their Chinese website and read their stuff. Turns out that it's still in a process of going private, but they're not very certain whether it's going to go through or not. So if we put this in a business term, is basically what they're trying to say is, hey, I used to want to buy you at $4 per share, but it turned out that on July 23rd, you know, Uncle Xi schooled us. So it turns out that after school, you know, tutoring stuff is not going to be as great as before. So maybe $4 isn't a great price. But in terms of the CEO, he thinks that $4 is very fair, because if you lower to, I think the fair value for, I think the value that the acquirer want to acquire is around $2.2, and then minus all these fees, the true price of acquisition is about $2.8 to $3. And I think the CEO might think it's too low, but I do think what was interesting is TEDU actually isn't a traditional after-school tutoring company. Most likely, most of its business model are for, you know, tutoring people for IT, like you know, programming, all those kind of stuff. So they can actually spin around with whatever they have. They have real estate. They have, you know, already have a clientele that is pretty, you know, broad range, and they can train people on coding, like giving people Python classes instead of like doing a bunch of like the traditional English or mathematics or Chinese after school tutoring. So I think there's still potential in this stock. But for me, what I'm really thinking about is, okay, so right now it's $1. It's in the danger zone. Of course, RSI goes so low, a lot of indexes, a lot of like, you know, the volume profile is going, like, seems like it's going to have a rebound in the next, you know, week or so. And then the target is probably going to fill this gap around like 1.2, you know, 1.28 or whatever. But what I really think about is, you know, is it really worth is the risk and, you know, the liquidity risk here is really worth it? Like for me, what I'm really betting on beforehand is, okay, so my base is like 1.22, and here my base is 1.39, you know, and then I'm betting for a $4 privatization deal, right? Minus 1.39. At least I will make $2 per share here. This is why I have like a couple of $1,000 in there. So I have like over like, I have a couple of thousand shares. But when the privatization deal isn't that hot anymore, my understanding is, all right, like if I wait 3 months, let's just say this thing goes through, I still make $2 per share. It's still a 2x return. It's pretty good. But right now, the market is very uncertain. That means there's going to be a lot of volatility. I can just, you know, use the same amount of liquidity in SQQQ, right? I can buy SQQQ. I can, you know, long Alibaba, short Alibaba in a very short period of time. I can, you know, long Yang or short Yang, right? And I can, based on how the tech stocks are going, I can look into Tesla. I can look into other places where I can use the same amount of money but make more returns in a shorter period of time. So this is what I decided to do. I decided to cut on position in TEDU by about 75%, right? Either break even or maybe make like 2 cents, like 20 cents or whatever. And then right now it's actually like the 25% I'm holding is actually lower than my average. I might actually buy back some on Monday depending on how the market goes. But I don't think it's worth the liquidity risk because the privatization deal is not gonna be, you know, getting done. Because right now it's like the Chinese National Day, nobody's working. Right? Next week, some people is gonna work, and then we all know, right? The first week we go back to work, nothing's really gonna happen. So you know, anything that is, you know, if any business transaction is probably not going to be done until like, you know, October 21st. And then when it reaches October 21st, people is going to prepare for 11/11, right? You guys know what 11/11 is in China, right? It's like one of those, like the bachelor or bachelorette day. So then they're gonna, you know, consumer related, consumer facing stocks are gonna go up instead of all of these tutoring stock, right? And you know, around by around Christmas, we will see another rebound for a lot of those tutor stocks, because this is when a bunch of sales are coming. I'll be like, oh, after school tutoring sales, you know, we're gonna have like new packages for the new year. And too bad you cannot buy TEDU on options. If you can, then no brainer. Just buy a bunch of like January and buy a bunch of leap options at $1. And that's like no brainer. Folderize, buy a bunch of that, wait until January or wait until December, you know, when this rebound to 1.5-ish, then, you know, sell those options. But right now it's a plain trading stocks, so it's not as attractive to me anymore than before, because I'm heavily betting on a privatization deal to be, you know, to go through late September. Turned out that, you know, market condition and everything doesn't allow that. So right now I only have 25% of my original holdings, and I might add a little bit, maybe add another 5%-ish, you know, on one day or whatever, and hold it for a little bit. If I don't see it going anywhere, I'm probably just gonna liquidate it. But most likely it is gonna go private. This is what I think. Alright, this is it for this video. Hope you like it. Hopefully this is informative. If you have any questions, let me know. And I'm gonna do a ATR video next. Hopefully it will come out, you know, fairly quick. But I have another call in about an hour and a half, so let's see how that goes. See you guys on the upside, and I will make the ATR because it's very important for one of our Patreon members. I love you all. See you guys on the upside.